I'm Dave.
And I'm Andrew, and together we are the IB English Guys. We are IB teaching partners, we're IB teachers, IB examiners. We work together all the time. We've been doing this for a while, and we're here today to share some tips and information to help you master the IO. Specifically today, we want to talk about
the conclusion, the wrap-up. This important part where we finish our part of the individual oral before that question and answer period, where we're able to wrap things up and go over our global issue. And we want to give you 3 reasons why the conclusion is important. So what's the first reason?
Yeah, I think the first reason the conclusion is important, Mr. Giles, number one, it shows that you're planned and organized. I've actually heard many candidates who don't get to their conclusion or they're interrupted by the teacher and forced into the conclusion early. So I think it just shows that you've thought about this, you've practiced this, you're planned, you're polished, you're organized.
Yeah.
Another reason why the conclusion is so important, Mr. Giles.
Yeah, it just helps to emphasize that global issue. Remember, the global issue is the backbone of your individual oral, so this is your opportunity to restate that global issue and go over that again.
For me, the third reason why the conclusion is important, and please keep in mind you don't have to do this, but we believe that making a few subtle comparative points is actually pretty useful. For us, it's logical. You've just talked about these 2 texts. Surely you want to have a little conversation about how they speak to each other. Again, not required, but certainly it ends your oral in a strong way, in our opinion.
Yeah, I think that just shows really interesting insight to do that. So we want to give a couple of considerations, things that you might want to include in your conclusion. And the first one is essential.
Restate the global issue. I think you've seen through our videos so far how important the global issue is. You've heard us talk about the backbone. Any good piece of writing would probably echo the thesis in the conclusion. The individual oral is the same way. Echo your global issue at the beginning of your conclusion.
Yeah.
Another consideration.
Yeah. Second consideration is to remind the listener about the text types and the purposes of these 2 texts that you've chosen, and be thinking about that. If one is a 19th century novel and the other is a modern day advertisement, mention that and talk about that and connect to the purposes of that. If one is a contemporary novel written in Arabic and the other one is a Japanese novel from the 15th century, you want to talk about that because I think those are interesting things to mention.
Agree. Our final recommendation for the conclusion, definitely talk about implications. Again, this is a word that we see on the rubric, and it answers the question, so what, Mr. Giles? I've chosen these 2 texts. I've talked about how they're important on a global scale, but so what? Let's look at how they manifest themselves in our world today, irrespective of these 2 texts, and why these 2 texts and this global issue truly matter.
That's great. So what do you say you give it a go and try a conclusion?
Sure.
You've got some text in your mind.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I've been talking about the God of Small Things a little bit during this time. I also, we've looked at the Dream Crazy campaign by Nike. That's the campaign that features Colin Kaepernick, Serena Williams, amongst others. And I think I'm going to try to take an extract from the God of Small Things that looks at the brutality of Velutha. And I also want to think about how African Americans are portrayed through the Nike ad and whether or not they can truly achieve their dreams.
Okay.
Should I take a stab at it?
I think you should go for it.
All right. In conclusion, the fields of inquiry of individuality and community are fully explored in these 2 texts. The first text, the extract from Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things, portrays Velutha, the untouchable, and we see him being destroyed as he's pursued his individuality within a community that rejects him. On the other hand, text 2, an advertisement from Nike, features Colin Kaepernick, an African American who's advocating for equality and rights for other African Americans and is encouraging them to dream crazy. Ultimately, both of these texts are very important. Despite being different text types and written in different time periods, they both comment on dreams. And if, as an individual, you truly are able to follow your passions to become what you are, become what you want to be in life. Sadly, in some contexts, this is not possible due to rampant discrimination, while liberal, more freeing contexts actually do allow you to dream crazy. Overall, it's our job as people in society to pay attention to the other and make sure that everybody, regardless of context, has equal access to their dreams. Thank you.
All right. That was great. I heard a clear connection to both texts, a clear connection to the field of inquiry and the global issue. I liked your passion. I liked what you were talking about. This is a very important issue that I can tell you care about. And you ended with a really thoughtful conclusion about the implications of this and really thinking outwards about the importance of this topic.
Again, even though we are kind of just pulling that out of thin air, we're riffing right now. Again, the passion is true. I do care about equality. And certainly if I were doing an IO for the IB, that I would choose something in this topic because it's my love. And you students should choose something that you love as well.
So just real quick, just things to think about with 3 things to think about with your conclusion. The first one is to go back to that global issue and emphasize that and restate it.
Number 2, you might want to casually mention the different text types and the different purposes and contexts. Remind the listener of that. And number 3,
talk about implications and that's so what, and connect to that and show why this is an important global issue to talk about.
Once again, students, we hope this video is helpful for you and has provided some value. If you like the content, you want more, again, put it in the comments below, subscribe, and we will continue making things that you want to hear about. We are here for you to master the IB. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.